Have you ever watched a football match and thought, something just isn't right? Bizarre own goal, a shocking red card, a penalty that came out of nowhere? You might have brushed it off as a bad day at the office for the players. But what if I told you that what you witnessed wasn't just a mistake? What if it was a carefully scripted performance, with the outcome decided long before the first whistle? Today we're diving deep into the dark underbelly of the beautiful game, a world of corruption, coercion, and multi-billion-dollar criminal empires. This is the story of how your favorite sport is being secretly controlled, and why it's still happening right under our noses. Let's start with a story that rocked the world of football. Italy, 2006. The Azzurri are on top of the world, having just won the World Cup. But back home, a storm was brewing. Scandal so massive it was given its own name, Calciopoli. Imagine this. The general managers of top Serie A clubs, including giants like Juventus, AC Milan, Fiorentina, and Lazio, are caught on wiretaps. What were they talking about? Not tactics or player transfers. They were hand-picking referees for their matches, ensuring favorable calls. Think about that. The most powerful figures in Italian football, conspiring with referee designators to influence the outcome of games. The investigation uncovered a systematic network of influence. The main figure, Luciano Maggi, the general manager of Juventus, was dubbed Lucky Luciano for his uncanny ability to get the right referees for crucial games. Phone calls were damning. They revealed conversations about which refs were friendly, which ones could be relied upon to make the calls that mattered. The fallout was catastrophic. Juventus were stripped of 2 Serie A titles and relegated to Serie B for the first time in their history. Other clubs faced point deductions and heavy fines. It was a national shame that exposed the rot at the very heart of the sport, proved that the game millions adored could be manipulated from the very top. But if you think this kind of corruption is just a European problem, you're mistaken. The real puppet masters often operate far from the floodlights of San Siro or the Allianz Stadium. Welcome to the world of the Asian betting mafia. This isn't your local bookie. We're talking about sophisticated, transnational criminal organizations that run illegal betting markets worth hundreds of billions of dollars a year. To them, football isn't a sport. It's a financial market to be exploited. And their methods are far more brutal than a friendly phone call. One of the most infamous figures in this world is Wilson Raj Perumal, a Singaporean match fixer who, by his own admission, rigged hundreds of matches across 5 continents. He wasn't just betting on games, he was creating the results. His network was vast. It would fly into a country, identify vulnerable targets, usually players or referees in lower leagues or financially struggling clubs, and make them an offer they couldn't refuse. Sometimes it was cash, a few $1,000s that could change the life of a player earning a meager salary. But when money wasn't enough, the threats began. And this is where the story turns truly dark. Imagine being a young player, trying to build a career. You get approached by a businessman who offers you a large sum of money to, say, give away a penalty or get a red card. You refuse. The next day, you get a call. They know where your family lives. They know your children's school route. The offer is no longer a request, it's a command. This is the terrifying reality for countless players around the globe. They are trapped, forced to choose between their career and the safety of their loved ones. In his autobiography, Perumal detailed how he would instruct players on the exact minute to concede a goal, or how many goals to let in. He'd sit in the stands, on the phone to his betting syndicates, orchestrating the game like a puppeteer. He fixed international friendlies, World Cup qualifiers, and even matches at the Olympic Games. He turned football into a stage play, and the players were his unwilling actors. The pressure on these individuals is immense. They are terrified of the criminals who control them, and they're terrified of being caught by the authorities. They live in a constant state of fear, their passion for the game destroyed. So, how many famous matches might have been fixed? The truth is, we'll probably never know the full extent. But the suspicions are everywhere. Remember the 2002 World Cup? South Korea's incredible journey to the semifinals was marred by a series of highly controversial refereeing decisions in their knockout games against Italy and Spain. Key goals were disallowed, and perplexing red cards were shown to their opponents. Was it just hometown advantage, or something more sinister? The referee from the Spain match, Gamal Ogondor, was later dogged by fixing allegations, which he has always denied. But the questions remain. What about the UEFA Cup final in 2008 between Zenit St. Petersburg and Rangers? Zenit won 2-0. Years later, a Spanish prosecutor alleged that the Russian Mafia had paid a Spanish crime boss to bribe the Zenit players' opponents in their semi-final match against Bayern Munich, which Zenit won 4-0. The case was eventually dropped, but the smoke lingers, even a Champions League match between Liverpool and Debrecen in 2009 came under scrutiny when the Debrecen goalkeeper reported that he had been approached by fixers to concede a certain number of goals. He refused, but the very fact the approach was made at that level is chilling. This brings us to the most disturbing question of all. Why is this still happening? In an age of VAR and intense media scrutiny, how can matches still be fixed? The answer is simple: money and technology. The global illegal betting market is larger than ever, estimated to be worth over $1.5 trillion annually. With that much money at stake, criminals will always find a way. They've moved beyond simply fixing the final result. Now, they focus on spot fixing. This involves manipulating specific moments within a game that are harder to detect. Things like the timing of the first throw-in, the first yellow card, or the number of corner kicks in the first 10 minutes. These are called exotic bets, and they are a fixer's dream. A defender can deliberately kick a ball out for a corner at a specific time without raising too much suspicion. It's almost impossible to prove intent. The fixers use encrypted messaging apps to communicate with players in real time, giving instructions during the match. The rise of online betting has made it easier for them to place huge sums of money across hundreds of different betting sites around the world, making it incredibly difficult for authorities to track. They target lower leagues, youth tournaments, and friendly matches games that fly under the radar, away from the glare of the mainstream media. For every Calciopoli that gets exposed, there are thousands of smaller fixes happening every week that we never hear about. The fight against match fixing is a constant battle. Organizations like FIFA and Interpol are working together, using sophisticated monitoring systems to detect suspicious betting patterns. But they are up against criminal networks that are incredibly well-funded, adaptable, and ruthless. For every fixer that gets arrested, another one is ready to take their place. The beautiful game, the sport that brings joy to billions, is also a playground for organized crime. So, the next time you see a moment in a match that makes you scratch your head, take a second to think. It might just be a simple human error, a fluke. But it could also be a glimpse into the shadows, a sign that the game you're watching is not a contest of skill and passion, but a predetermined fraud. The reality is that as long as there are vast sums of money to be made from betting, the specter of match fixing will continue to haunt football. It's a chilling thought that the roars of the crowd and the passion of the fans could all just be the soundtrack to a crime in progress. The dark secret of football is that for some, it was never a game at all. Thanks for watching. If you found this look into the darker side of football interesting, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives. Let us know in the comments if there are any other sports scandals you'd like us to cover.